Alright, so little update here. I said I would post an update about the port of Dungeons of Daggorath to the Amiga as soon as I had something to report. Well, my plan was to have something to report in the next couple of days because I've been working on the text parser, the command line, and the inventory screen, and the little status bar that has the items that you're carrying in your hands. And I can render text, everything's going well there, but the command line is not really coming together all that well. So I'm going to take a step back, reconsider some of the ways I'm doing things, do it in smaller pieces instead of trying to get the whole system building together all at once. I'm going to break it into smaller parts. I kind of designed it outside of the main system and then thought, hey, I'll just drop it in because if I've got it working outside the system, then I should just be able to drop it in and it should just work. Well, it's not quite going that way. This is probably the third time since I've started this project that I've run into something that was frustrating. The first couple of times I thought, well, maybe this is a little bit too advanced. Maybe I shouldn't be attempting this. I should just go ahead and take a step back from this and get back on with work on fuselage. But then I managed to overcome the first hurdle, and then the second one was the random number generator that was generating mazes, but they weren't the correct mazes. And I thought there was no way I was going to overcome that one, but I did. So it isn't a skill thing because I'll be the first to tell you, I most of the time have no idea what I'm doing. I just kind of do an iterative process between Google and digging into books and using AI, even though I have a love-hate relationship with AI. It's good at certain things, but man, it is really bad at other things too. And maybe I'm just not using it right. I don't know. I know a lot of people can get into Claude or Codex or whatever and type in their prompts and have complete working applications running after it. They're doing it at a bit higher level, I think, and they're also taking the road more often traveled. The kind of stuff I'm doing is probably a little bit more niche, a little more arcane. So the LLMs have a hard time giving me useful code per se. And I never really ask it for code. I often ask it about certain functions or why is this code not working. And more often than not, the answers it gives me are, well, they would be relevant if it wasn't for the fact that I'm working with such a outdated system. But a lot of times they will quote correct my code and completely fail to recognize that this is C89 and it'll give me some C99 or some C17 or something that completely will not compile on an Amiga. And even after I remind it several times, it does not seem to remember. So AI is only of limited help. And I've got the same problem with working in fuselage with modern systems too. It'll generate code for me that I don't even ask for. I'll ask for a very specific function or how a certain function should be used, and it'll throw code out right there that I don't even ask for. And the worst part is it doesn't even work. Yeah, it's going to give me code. I'm going to try it, but I'm not saying that it isn't useful. It's been very useful for me. It explained a lot with the 6809 code from the TRS-80. It's been doing a wonderful job telling me exactly what that code's doing because, I'm not a 6809 programmer. I understand assembly, mostly on the 68,000, a little bit on 6502. And if you understand one, you kind of get the gist of others, even though there are some differences between all the different platforms. If you understand the concepts, it translates over well. But I learned a lot more about 6809 in the past couple of weeks than I think I ever wanted to know. And I have to say, I'm actually kind of impressed with that chip. Really, in a lot of ways, I think it has some advantages over the 6502, something I really wasn't expecting to discover, but it is a cool chip. I don't think I'll be working with it much, but it is nice to have Chat GPT and Claude there to help me understand what the original Dungeons of Daggorath code was doing, so that when I try to re-implement it on the Amiga, I have a better understanding. And it, like I said, it's been extremely useful in a lot of ways. But the code that I'm working on right now, now I can render the text. That's easy. In fact, one of the things I thought was really great about Claude was I gave it the original assembly files, and it was able to take all of the vector points from the original source code and generate modern vector lists for me to use in, well, I say modern, but you know what I mean, vector lists I could use on the Amiga. That saved me a whole lot of time having to like transcribe all that crap. So that saved me a bunch of work. And I can draw the textures. I mean, I've got really good rendering of the text. So it's not been a complete waste of the past several days, but I don't know if I'm going to have the text parser and console completed in the next couple of days. I'm going to keep working on it, but I've been working on it all morning, all day. I did take a break there for a while, went grocery shopping, and stepped away from it, but I kind of burnt out for the day, so I'll resume work tomorrow. Hopefully by Thursday I'll have something to show. But my plan is tomorrow morning I'm going to start fresh from the ground up. I'm going to take a step back. There will be parts of the code that I'll probably reuse just simply because I know there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm going to reconsider my tactics here, and I'm going to implement things into the main project little by little, ensuring that they all work as I add them in. So, yeah, it's this is what I consider my third major hurdle, the third time that I started to get stressed out and a little doubtful, thinking, maybe I'm in over my head, but I've overcome two major hurdles before, and stubbornness got me through them. A lot more than skill did. It was definitely stubbornness. So let's just see if I can be stubborn enough to get over this hill, and then we'll see where the next roadblock is. I previously said that the dungeon generator was probably the hardest part, and it was all downhill from now. From here on out, it's downhill. I might be biting those words because I think maybe the monster AI will probably be the next major hurdle I get to, if something else doesn't crop up between here and there. I do still need to do some work on the dungeon renderer, because I'm currently using the Amiga's line drawing functions, but one of the things I'm probably going to have to do is write my own line draw function. I don't know if the Amiga can do like pattern lines. I'll have to look into that. But on the original game, luminance levels, as it was drawing the level, the further back you got, or the dimmer your torch was, the less of a solid line you would get. So I believe there were like 8 luminance levels or something like that. I have to look at that code again, but on the Amiga, I would like to, well, I had considered using grayscale, but I think I'm definitely going to try to re-implement the dotted line effect, which means probably, unless there's some kind of like pattern setting you can do for the line drawing, I'm going to have to implement my own line drawing routine, which shouldn't be too hard. I've done that before, so. Anyway, this is all I wanted to say. A little update so people don't think I've disappeared. It's been like a week, I think, since I posted the last video. There was a short in there somewhere where I talked about something, but this is just me putting something out there, letting you know that the project's still on. Fuselage. I'm not working on it at the moment because I've kind of gotten an unexpectedly high amount of interest in this project. I really didn't think there were that many Dungeons of Daggorath fans out there, but wow, was I wrong about that. A lot of people have reached out to me about this. Seems that there's a lot of people who really liked this game. Now, they're all people my age, so it's not like, mainstream or nothing. It's old farts that grew up with the TRS-80 in the 80s. So the interest is there, and because of that, I can't see myself stopping this project, at least no time soon, because now that there's actually people interested in what I'm doing, that kind of motivates me to stay on focus. Whereas with Fuselage, I was kind of doing it as a passion project. And I'm not saying there hasn't been people expressing interest in Fuselage, but the response that I've gotten from this project is a whole lot more than Fuselage ever generated. So I see it like this. If I can finish Dungeons of Daggorath, maybe some of the people who were following the progress of this project will stick around and follow Fuselage as it goes forward. So, if not, I mean, nothing lost, nothing gained, but I really did need a break from Fuselage anyways. The whole year spent on the previous Anus version, and then diving right into Buttocks, trying to convert everything to Vulcan, learning Vulcan, and doing the conversion, and it became stressful, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not real thrilled with a lot of the things I have to do in Vulcan. I understand once it's all done, I'll be done with it, hopefully, and I can move on with the rest of the project. But it's just so much work to get so much basic stuff done with Vulcan that, yeah, the performance gains will be worth it once it's done, but it just seems like right now I'm just pedaling really hard and getting nowhere. So, like I said, I've taken a break from Fuselage for now, and we're gonna work on this Dungeons of Daggorath port. Plus, I kind of really enjoy working on this. I really liked the game, and seeing actual progress towards an actual game is a lot more interesting to me than working on a game engine or virtual machine, because people don't play engines, they play games. And it might be interesting to people who want to develop games to see a game engine in development, but the average player's not as interested in that as they are in an actual game that they can download and play and just enjoy the game as a finished product. And if I'm going to do all this work all the time, working on things, every now and then I got to have a little bit of fun. So, working on this is going to give me something that is tangible, some results that are not just a exercise in futility, if you will. Yeah, demos and stuff are cool, but people want to play games, and I want to make games, so taking breaks away from Fuselage to work on projects like this seems like time well invested, if you ask me. I don't know, you may feel different about it, but that's all I got for now. Now I'm going to go visit some bartenders, because everybody knows I love my bartenders, so out to have some drinks and unwind from the day of stress that this project has caused me. So, in the meantime, have some beer, eat some sausages, play some games, and I'll see you in the next update. Hopefully that'll be Thursday, I guess.